in the proceedings of preservation report. We're call roll from the here. Commissioner Allen is here.
Yes.
Commissioner Hannaford is here.
Yes.
Commissioner Hamilton is here.
Yes.
Commissioner Green is here.
Yes.
Alderman Ryan is here.
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson is here.
Yes.
Commissioner Robinson, are you here? Okay. There are eight commissioners present.
Perfect.
Commissioners, has anybody seen the minutes for the March 25th, 2024 meeting? And if so, is there a motion?
I move we approve those minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion, hearing none. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Commissioners, take a look at the agenda and recuse yourself. Are you in different order?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to recuse myself from agenda item. I say all four. Chairman, I'd like to recuse myself from item D. This happens to be my house. Recuse on D also.
I also recuse myself from agenda item D. Edward Brown, this is order. Noted.
Maybe here A and B together, since they're the same developer, same project, side by side lots. They were just separate staff reports because they were on two separate parcels.
Commissioners, not agree with you?
Yes.
Okay, please proceed.
Okay, before we start, Tony Stair, can you hear me okay? Tony, you're in the AC there. Can you hear me, Tony? The applicant's in the Zoom, everything. Tony, can you hear me okay?
Yes, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Okay, you're here. Great. Thank you so much. We're having some audio issues in the building, so thank you very much. We'll get to you in a sec, okay?
Okay,
Item right now. Okay, so we're in McKinley Heights. We have two empty lots on the side of Jefferson at 2258 and 2260 Jefferson. And this is the site question. This is aerial shots. As you can see, they're pretty two empty lots. One, the house on it on the south lot up in 2009. Pretty narrow gangway between all the houses across the street. Getting to the same context in terms of residential. Also, there's a church. Next, this is the context north. Again, it's all residential on this side of the street. Mostly single family, two things, but all two-story brick. Next, this is south, same kind of context. Next, across the street. So I showed you area-wise, and now it's ground level. Next, here are the side plans. The brick will be brick front facades. Brick would turn the sides the distance to the neighboring properties. Next. Here is the proposed front elevation, and this is the model example. See, it lines up pretty quick, pretty nicely. We're going to ask for a few things, maybe a little more defined cornice, brick color, usual things we ask for in terms of final submissions. But overall, you think it aligns pretty well with the model example. Next. The side will be 4-inch hardy or composite on the sides. Again, the brick will return an appropriate number. Next. The rear and also a garage door. Next. This is the streetscape. It's not the best. No shots to Mr. Stair. Not the best. However, we are confident that the floor levels will align with the neighboring properties. Next. Because in 2019, the building on my left, right, was built by the applicant, and the floor levels do line up. So we are confident that what he will construct will align with neighboring properties. As you can see with the proposal, this pavement windows are rough looking. The new structure will have larger windows that are more appropriate. Next. Go back. Right there. So everything else, it complies with setback, height. We think the solid wood is good. It will be brick. Neighborhood does support the application for both buildings. Have any questions for me? I recommend that you grant approval for both buildings. It will be recessed. Tony's the applicant is here to verify, but I'm pretty sure
Okay, and that's what it looks like in the drawing.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a recess. Like the Mall example, it was all, like when they built previously, excuse me, it was recessed.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so we built a house similar to this in Benton Park years ago, and we didn't make that entry door as wide as the model example, and it's a big mistake, and I can see it's about to be made here. So you can look at that picture and see that that doorway is wider than the windows. So I would say when you look at this in detail, to get that right, I don't know if it's 42 inches or whatever it is, but the width of that opening, you can just look at how it lines up with the window above.
Gotcha, it's gonna be wider than.
It should be wider, yeah. When it's really tight like that, it's a mistake.
Understood. We can make it, Tony, is that open to you? Make the doorway.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, there isn't enough on that problem. And then, what about tinted windows? Do they preclude those in that district? I don't know, it's something if you could put on your checklist. We've had a few I brought this up before, a few tinted windows allowed in Benton Park when they're not supposed to be.
The issue when it comes to the new construction policies with windows, the new construction code lacks construction on windows. So it's kind of hard to replace windows in historic buildings, and yes. The problem is when it comes to the actual new construction aspect of the codes, that you can't do that.
Oh, McKinley didn't address that.
No, a lot of them don't actually. The new construction part,
And then
that's the problem.
why not make him give you a good contextual motivation instead of saying, I know this guy? If you make the rest of us do it.
That's a fair point. Again, I point to the fact that he has built a neighborhood, they've been appropriate. So I guess, in the fairness, trying to get something that we think is appropriate constructed.
We plan on using the same windows as those other ones without Riverside windows, if that helps.
Oh, 1 second. That's a fair question. And again, we decided that, given that he's still same building, 2 parcels to the north, and it's lined up appropriately, we felt that we could trust that that'd be okay.
I would respectfully request that that be required for anybody doing a new building, so we see how it lines up. And then you said appropriate distance for the bricks on the return. What does that mean?
It'll be at least the distance to the neighboring property.
Okay, thanks, Bob.
Questions for Bob?
I don't believe the vice president speaks. No, yeah, the applicant is in the room with that. That's all we have. Again, we have an email from the neighborhood saying they support it. Very brief, so it's a thing.
Move that the Preservation Board grant preliminary approval to the project with the condition that the final drawings, exterior materials, and colors be reviewed and approved by the CRO office.
Is that the project?
For
Like
PMD.
Andy?
Hearing none. Yes or no?
Yes.
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 Commissioner Robinson?
Yes.
Abstains on this vote, there are 1, 2, 5, 7. Abstention, motion.
I do want to note, if you wish to, if you're in the Zoom and you wish to speak on a specific item, please send a note in the chat saying that you wish to speak on an item and list the address you want to speak on. So if you're in the Zoom and you want to speak, please the chat to the one that's planning and urban design. Oh, sorry, wait 1 second. Then it'll be a tile that says please send messages here, and please send that with your name and the item you want to speak on.
not me, but you are also in. The project is about the house. Yes. That was just, actually to say that, I'm Jan Cameron, the research office. And this is still in addition, but he is now the front of an alley house. Top of the current house. This is the alley elevation. But unusually, this house has a front elevation facing. Now, originally, there were two properties on this site. The front building was demolished 20 years ago. Because of the construction. Now, the issue is to add an addition to the front of this alley house to provide a better look. And you can see how large the site is and how tiny the little house is. Both in the aerial on the right and in the site plan. Left. This is shot from the street. It's not current, but it shows you that the front has, with its step parapet, has already had an addition attached to it. And the interesting thing about Paragraph East is that what was once a private facade, if it's exposed by demolition of another building or another part of a building, not become public, even though it's street facing, but it becomes semi-public, and it's semi-public facade. Or have one. We have no idea of what that addition has done to the building. It may have destroyed it, it was covered up in this room, but this is why the staff is supporting an addition to the front of this property. What you see on the right is the current condition of the structure, which I cannot find a building permit for, but it will be removed in the rehabilitation of this property. Next. Another shot directly looking at the house from the street. Next. Another shot of the current condition at the alley, framed by a metal fence at the moment. Another shot, you can see the portion of the addition is very substantial, and the darker area is the floor plan. And next. Now, this is where we got into some interesting discussions with the architect and the owners. We felt that this particular very modern design on the left was not compatible with the streetscape or the district. So we have some changes. That's the rear elevation on the right. They were very, in the side elevation where there's going to be a large porch, and then another, the north elevation, which is coming in from the property. So they were very accommodating. They were back to look at it, and the elevation on the right is their response to the staff's comments. So that it's much more compatible with the character of the district. However, it does not comply in one element, and that is the ratio of wood solid. Okay, with the new revised elevation. So on the left is proposal. On the right is my staff little sketch. Proposing that there be a transom window open floor. Currently, the requirement is 25% must be void on the primary elevation. Proposal has not about, with the addition of transom, it brings the addition, it actually adds, I think, some element of verticality. mentioned that I understand that they would just see this included, but I do not have any evidence of that. Nor the owners. Oh, I didn't get it.
We're supporting the plan for 2611 Michigan, which I believe is up for Coastal Preservation Board Committee.
Well, I stand corrected.
With that approval, have addressed your transom.
No, I don't believe that, because that's a late change.
Yeah, and okay with the trans?
Well, no.
I think Jan brings up a good point about the. Give me one natural line.
I move that the preservation board grant preliminary approval of project design. Added photo tool, and then final plans, exterior materials and colors are reviewed.
Second.
I would just like to say that bigger windows are always better.
See, I applaud. Not so much.
That creates precedent for other decisions on this project.
By the way, that the Alderman, I could not reach by a microphone.
Without
Oh my God, no.
Now,
You just. You guys heard that, right? All favors. Mr. Allen, vote yes or no?
Yeah.
Vote yes or no?
Yes.
Allen. vote yes.
Yes.
Vote yes or no?
Yes.
Alderman Ryan, you vote yes or no? Richardson, you vote yes or no?
Yes.
And Robinson, you vote yes.
I am on here as well. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
We have just voted to approve. You want us to take that?
No, that's great. I'm in support. The community's in support. Excellent.
Woman? Side? I recuse on that.
I will take up,
I'll love the rattles.
Oh, okay.
I asked him, are you sure? Because if she. After reading that.
Yeah, I
know.
So yes, please proceed.
I apologize for how loud the audience is right now. They're extremely loud. Okay, the property is at 2323 Whitmore Place in Lafayette Square. This is a prelim, it's not an appeal. This is the house in question. Next. As houses go, so it's, again, I'm trying to not be. It's gonna be special response. It's hard for me in general. It's special. This is the property, but the issue comes down to this. It's a rear alley facing window that's going to be enlarged. As you can see by the maps, aerial, it's no way it can be street visible. Next. This is a before and then a proposed. You see is a window, single window now will be widened. The ordinance Lafayette Square states You know, there are some language in it that rear windows may not be widened. Beyond that, everything else in the code, it just, we're not allowed to widen rear facing windows. It's just how the code is written. Sill is fine, pencil is fine, everything else is okay. That's just the widening of the element. Have a letter of support from the neighborhood. They are in support of a project as submitted. However, given that the ordinance does say shall not be widened, staff cannot recommend.
I don't understand, why does it say you can't, but then they said you can't?
Great question.
I'm not against, I mean, I'm not against that.
I think sometimes they realize that maybe because they're code to be strict, I'm gonna speak for them, but I think sometimes they see the code are a little too strict, why it's being rewritten. Perhaps that's why. I don't know how it addresses this specifically, but they are in support of the application.
First floor windows not visible from the alley.
Correct. Next picture, is there more? Yeah, this is a really large kitchen that's going through. Next. And this is the alley shot. So left, you can see, yeah. See again, you can't quite see it from the alley.
They're rewriting their thing, so.
If I do not know how they're addressing this aspect of it, yeah, I don't know, it was addressed, we had a previous applicant that was addressed, being rewritten from the code.
The comments in here, the italicized words, is that from the code? That's not your comments, those are comments in the code.
Right, and they conflict, which is also a problem because the code also defines the word shall, and it says if it shall means you must. So you have a comment section that then tries to,
Just strongly recommended.
right, but then below it says the word shall, which is defined in the code. So there are conflicting languages in the code, but we do default to the word shall in most of our reports. Shall means
Any other questions? Yeah. Host the annual preservation board cocktail party.
I think it depends how the vote goes. Staff does recommend that the. So,
Oh, I didn't,
oh, go ahead.
I didn't know.
Oh. Speaker, Mike Lee. And Mr. Clee, do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is true to the best of your ability? I do. All right, proceed.
I can tell you though, if we can go back to the design sheet. The photograph. The applicant really wanted to make sure that what we put back there looked as appropriate as possible. So those windows are the same window that you see there in the kitchen. The same size as the original, so the three windows came together. We realized that would not have been done historically in this case. So we tried to come up with a design that was as appropriate feeling for this building as possible. So that the arched opening above the windows, the window proportions, the precast or the concrete, or no, it's wood.
It's wood.
Right, the wood sill down at the base there, which was the suggestion. So we were trying our best to make that look like it belongs. But we realized that width of three windows is not. Other questions?
Thank you. Well, at this point, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that the preservation board grant preliminary approval of the design and that the final plans, exterior materials and colors are reviewed and approved by the Cultural Resources Office.
Second. Okay, there's been a motion and a second. We'll go down the roll. Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
That's some discussion there. I think because the code is conflicting with each other, that we should defer to the neighborhood's opinion.
Yeah, and I think that the rewriting the code in the neighborhood
brush us on a preliminary review basis. Next.
I agree there, it's great. Looking to pull the correct permits and do everything the correct fashion, and that there is some inconsistency here in the code. I think whenever there's an ambiguity, I think that it probably should go the way of the applicant. So,
And I'll be looking at this, any further discussion. All right, Commissioner Allen?
Still yes.
Commissioner Hamilton?
Yes.
Commissioner Hamilton?
Yes.
Yes. Commissioner Davidson? Richardson, excuse me.
He's
Recusing
letting
myself
that
over
go.
here.
Robert.
Of course. Yes, Robinson. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations, applicant.
I'd like to host a Christmas party. Chairman?
Unhappily named Juan Donut Plaza.
Oh, they want to do minor things. On the, no, I'm sorry, there we are. This is the location, which is east of the Union here. It is essentially refurbishing and adding, few types of plants. This is the location. This is the existing plaza. Fountain is not changing, but everything else is being. And this is what it will look like. And stop looking northward, towards the gift fountain and the donor flat. The staff is recommending that Preservation Board recommended the Board of Public Service commit those improvements nine as codified at 24.10 of the revised code.
I move that the Preservation Board recommends the Board of Public Service the approval of permit proposed improvements pursuant to 64689, section 51.
Commissioner Allen, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Moran?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Recommendation. Director's report. So I move the chair, yes, from the audience, the chair were somewhat habitually sat.
Oh, or you're to still.
I am.
In case you have not already heard, sad news, Sam Sessions passed away last week. I believe. Some sort of service on May 11th, on Saturday, May 11th. We don't have any details yet. It's in our house, we don't know the time or remember anything detail posted. I did not know her when she came to preservation for meetings. I understand she was quite a regular and certainly contributed a lot to her neighborhood. That was her real passion. I saw that he had many meetings about the Lafayette River standards, and I really got to understand her institutional knowledge, her concern, and her care for the neighborhood. And for the we'll send the card from our office. It's really just kind of. Would like to ask lots of areas where things weren't contemplated or were overly contemplated, so we're hoping that with this project, we can allow each one of the sets of standards, the neighborhoods and stakeholders involved, to take a look at some rational options that have been really carefully thought through, and then select the ones that match what they have right now, and if they want to make some changes or clarifications, it would be, that is cool. So, we'll provide consultants in partnership with cultural resources and in discussion with stakeholders, including the. That won't be done in a vacuum. I think staff has firsthand daily knowledge of how problematic some parts of the standards are, and that's why, there are many things that we would like to not have to bring to you, but because I think we all remember the mural in Central West End last year, or where we just weren't sure, like it wasn't clear whether staff could make that decision, so. Hopefully with these, this menu of options, those things will be clearer, and then the stakeholders can make, decide if they want to retain that level of clarity or lack of clarity, or if they want to have.
Often asks me to do. I would point out that the decision on
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, this is a process. Each one of the standards, which we are supposed to be reviewing every 5 years, which was not possible, would first obviously be staff, and would then working with neighborhood, so take it to the preservation board. Then it would go to the board of planning commission. Then it would go to the board of aldermen, who would probably refer it to a committee, and then we go back to the board of aldermen. This is a big process. This is why when we have a minor issue like this Lafayette Square shall language, we don't just fix it. It's not just basically fix it. This process, a small change or a large change, almost do the same process. So we would like that process to result in something that is better.
Can I ask a question? So it won't be one size fits all. So it's still, so Hyde Park could have very Spartan regs and Lafayette Square could go overkill. Right?
Yes, that's your characterization, not mine. But absolutely, we're not trying to change anyone's parameters. It's just we would like some more clarity of language to be more uniform across the 18 sets of standards. Because I think Bob had the quote like the same thing about with us. There's nothing consistent across standards that allows us to say, well, these 5 neighborhoods allow for typical windows being done in construction. So. That is something that we had asked, the RFP we've asked them to take a look at. My personal opinion is that if there is ever a conflict, that the historic standards should take precedent. We did have, I think on the Albion Tower, we had a situation where there was something in the form-based code and something in the standards that didn't quite comply. The standard said that you had to maintain the building line, but the form-based code did not. And it never came to a head because the developers are willing to retract the building or recess the garage in Albion Tower to highway rental. And that obviated the problem, but that has come up in other discussions.
what's the timeline? Where are we at with this process?
We have interviews this week.
How about the financial distress or whatever? We always have different standards. Is that something that would be done?
That is not, so we put affordability. And I did look into, I did look into other jurisdictions that do financial hardship analysis, and they basically have a financial committee that handles all this, because you either have latitude or you have very, very, very strict parameters, and it's financial analysis, but that will be our decision. But we did talk about affordability in our RFP, and energy efficiency, ADA compliance, best practices, new technology. We're trying to make this expansive and bringing in some factors that really weren't contemplated in 1978 when Hyde Park Standards were.
And once the person's under contract, how long is this process with them?
About 6 months for the first phase, and then the second phase is standards to help one neighborhood upgrade or edit or update the standards, and for y'all is that, Cultural Resources has been out and out. Last week, we did 4 separate, community engagement sessions. On Monday, we presented to the Project Connect Town Hall meeting that was at Vashon High School. There were probably 50 or 60. It was really nice. On Tuesday, we presented at the SLDC Town Hall meeting. What was it?
McKinley Heights,
But it was for 8 or so,
neighborhoods across the city, mostly south side neighborhoods.
on Wednesday night, we presented to the Landmark Association's monthly lecture series. And on, I like to have the chair. On Thursday.
Tell her what you're talking about. Tell her what you're talking about.
I was wondering whether the board should correct your pronunciation.
Vashon, I'm pronouncing it correctly. I also say a bear and not beaver, so.
You put the emphasis on wrong, so.
Fourth one, board member Alan and I were actually the panelists at a surprisingly well-attended meeting, because there was a tornado warning that night at Spine Bookstore, hosted by Jackie Dana. And there was, I didn't realize this was a $5 cover, and there were still 25 people there. Wow, look at you all. Did you get a cut? No, we did not.
It's like, love that we can't do things like that.
But it was a great discussion. It went on for 2.5 hours. Lots of people who are very interested in preservation, a few familiar faces, but lots of people that at least I didn't recognize. So it was really helpful. And the maps that we have, you need to take that all over the place. And that is really helpful in communicating the impact, the range of what we do. In fact, an alderman called me on Thursday and told me that one of his constituents had been at the Landmark Association meeting on Wednesday. He called him on Thursday to apologize because he had been getting a lot of grief about his insistence on adherence to historic standards. And to his credit, the constituent said, I had no idea it was that involved. Like, I really appreciate it. So, yeah, that made us feel. And just as a reminder, the May board meeting will not be on the 4th Monday, the 20th, so the 20th.
We're gonna have to.
I can assure you that I've been trying for many months.
We can't do this again.
I agree with you, and I will go speak to my contact organization that makes me. Not a problem.
There are other rooms that. Portrait our free listeners. Or applicants or. Publish. I've been trying to see what.
Oh, and I actually got some reviews from people who tried to attend last month and they couldn't hear much of anything. You probably know more.
We will have a solution in place.
Yeah, the YouTube videos are now coming out focused on the Zoom rather than on past years, but not that I've watched us too often after we leave, but I've heard from people that they're a little hard to follow. Not anymore.
Oh, and I also want to thank board member Hamilton. She gave me some great contacts in the real estate community, and we are working to get on the agenda to some of the real estate realtors meetings as well as the builders. Okay, I would be happy to go with you if it's ever helpful.
Any comments on that? Like a motion to adjourn? Please stand.